Calcio Mercato says that Tottenham manager Roberto De Zerbi wants to sign Fiorentina striker Moise Kean in the summer transfer window. It is claimed that the Italian forward could be heading through the exit door at the end of the season, and Fiorentina are set to demand in the region of 44 million to allow him to depart. I mean, this is a striker that keeps going up in stature in the game. Obviously, he's done very well over the last couple of years. Fully fledged Italian international now and doing well on the international stage. Would you like to see Moise Kean in a replacement for someone like a Richarlison?
It's an interesting one. He's had a really good 18 months.
Yeah.
But Fiorentina haven't exactly been brilliant, but he's been quite good. Now regularly starts for Italy. How impressive that is. Remains to be seen because Italy have now missed out on their.
But he scores regularly for them.
Yeah, he does. He's a regular goal scorer. He does really well in Serie A. Obviously, he was at Everton and it didn't really work out, but that was a while ago. He's been to many big clubs: Juventus, PSG. Who else has he been at? Obviously, Fiorentina, Everton. He's been around the block to a few decently sized clubs.
Everton, PSG, Juventus, Fiorentina.
Okay, so I named all of them. Would I like to see him through the door? I don't know. It's hard to judge because Serie A seems to be not at its best at the moment.
Yeah.
So judging him based on his Serie A form, despite it being pretty good, I don't know if that qualifies him to be first choice for Tottenham. I'd probably take him as a squad player, but I don't know if I'd... I mean, to be fair, I'm quite impressed whenever I see him. So...
What about him battling for that spot with Dom Solanke?
Yeah, I mean, I would... Yeah, replacing with Richarlison, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
And 44 million does seem like a decent price for someone. He's 26, going into the prime years of his career.
How many goals has he got this year?
Only 8. 8 in 26 games. It's not even that many. Last year he got 19 in 32, which is a really good return, obviously. But this year Fiorentina have been massively struggling. Massively. So,
but you have other strikers like you had Scamacca who's banging the goals in Serie A and then comes to England and just can't
didn't Scamacca do really well for De Zerbi at Sassuolo?
He did.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Do you know? I think under De Zerbi as well, strikers might look a bit different and a bit better than what we've seen in previous years as well.
Yeah, you might not be wrong there. You might not be wrong. I wonder if he's going to scour the Italian market. I wouldn't be surprised if he's interested. Obviously, he's going to have to deal with Fabio to get him in, and whether Fabio gives us a good deal or not.
He'll use his contacts, and he's definitely got contacts at Spurs.
Yeah, I think. Look, for me, he wouldn't be my number one choice. I'd look around, but I think he's decent. I don't think he's anything special.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Spurs linked with another player from Serie A, Tutto Sport, claiming that Tottenham are interested in Sassuolo defender Marik Muharemovic. It is believed that the Italian club are demanding 30 million for the Bosnian international. 23-year-old has been touted as one of the best defenders in Serie A this season.
Marik Muharemovic.
You know much about him?
Not really. Obviously, plays for De Zerbi's old team.
Yeah.
So I'm sure De Zerbi's keeping a close eye on him. Was he a centre-back?
Centre-back, yeah. I
mean, I think we're going to go for Van Hecker, to be honest. I don't know if we go... And then we've got Vuskovic potentially coming back. Then you've got Danso still there, Van de Ven, if one of Van de Ven or Romero stays. So, I don't know, maybe. I don't really know much about him.
Says here he's strong aerial ability, aggressive tackler, composure in the build-up play as well.
So he's the perfect defender.
Basically, yeah.
Left-footed. Okay.
Goal threat as well. So, I mean, the thing is, if we went for Van Hecker, we need someone on the left as well,
If it all depends which of Van de Ven or Romero.
Or if both of them leave, we need two, don't we?
Oh, obviously, yeah. I'm going to guess one stays, but I don't know which one.
Yeah.
They might both leave.
And then you've got Vuskovic coming back in as well. So that raises another question. But he seems like a good prospect, but I've never actually seen him play with my own eyes, so it's hard to make a big judgment call on that.
One thing to know is Sassuolo are very used to playing quite attacking football. They're one of the more offensive teams in Serie A, and that kind of started under Zerbi. But so he's not. Yes, he's playing for a Serie A team, but he's not playing for one of these teams like when we signed Dragosin, who was playing for was it Genoa?
Yeah.
And they were just like a defensive team, and he didn't translate very well to Tottenham.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be different.
Yeah, agreed. On Vuskovic, there has been some quotes from him, and he says, after this season, I'll be a Tottenham player again. I have a contract until 2030. It is also my dream to play alongside my brother Mario at Hamburg. I would give everything for that, and Spurs know that too. So obviously Vuskovic looks like he's angling for another loan move next season.
Yeah, we've heard that. It's kind of a unique opportunity to him to play with his brother, and his brother obviously was banned for a few years.
Yeah.
For I mean, some would say unjustly, it seems. He was banned, so obviously he's looking at thinking, I would love to play my brother. Like, what an unbelievable opportunity that is, once in a lifetime or once in a career thing. He won't get the opportunity again if he doesn't go move next season. But we're not a charity, you know. We pay his contract, we pay him a good wage, and if we want him and we want to keep him, then he's gonna have to do it. Like he and as well, you know, the chance to play under Zerbi, take his game on as well, even more, and develop him as a centre back. So it's a tough one. I understand his point of view, but I think from Tottenham's point of view, he's too good. Like, we need him. We need him next season, and he's just been pulling up so many trees in the Bundesliga, and I think it's time to take his game on another notch.
Yeah,
maybe we should sign his brother. Maybe that makes
I won't be against that.
Just loan him for a year. You loan his brother for a year.
It'll be quite frustrating to see Vuskovic go back to Hamburg next season, because like every single year he's taken a step up in his career, and he's flourished every single time. And obviously going back to Hamburg, he's still playing in the Bundesliga, so he's still playing at a high level. But if he's not coming back to Spurs, you want to see him just keep progressing through the ranks, don't you? And you want to see his development just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And when you're talking, like, Hamburg have got such a touch here, because they've got him on the heartstrings, don't they, playing with his brother coming back into the frame next season. And they just must be like, wow, like, we've got this young prospect who's best defender in the Bundesliga this season, dying to play for us again next season.
In a relegation battle.
Like, they are in like some crazy situation.
Yeah, so they're going to do everything they can, of course. It'd be very interesting to see how we play this one, because we don't want to upset him too much. But surely he's understanding, like, we own you, like, you know, we pay your wages. So what can he do? He can't. I don't think he's going to force a move, because we actually want to keep you.
So if in a world where Romero stays and we sign Van Hecker, I'm not against it. I'm not totally against it. One more year in the Bundesliga, then bring him back and maybe look to sell a Romero the following summer. I wouldn't be against that, because then you've still got two quality, and you've got Danso there as well, that could provide Kara.
You assuming Van de Ven leaves?
I'm just talking about the right side of defence for this moment in time. You know, if you've got those three, I'm not fussed. You know, Vuskovic can go on another year at development and you know, fulfill a dream of his of playing with his brother and everything like that. He's still so young that we shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But in an ideal world, I want to see him back at Tottenham. That's the reality.
Agreed.
All right. Well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your
the Romero stuff.
Oh, sorry. There is one more thing, actually. Romero's dad, Victor, has been piping up in the press. And he says he has 2 more years on his contract with Tottenham and a very high release clause. The English club isn't going to let him go for free. It's between $50 to $70 million, it says, which is 37.8 million to 53 million pounds. That's quite a big jump there. For me, they'll want to recover everything that they've invested. I don't know anything, but in football, anything can happen. Today, you might be thinking about being closer to your family, and tomorrow, they put together a team to win the championship and everything changes. I don't want to sit here and lie. So he's not leaving anything out there.
I mean, it's interesting that he's again said about this release clause, because I don't know if it was Ben Jacobs or Ali Gold said, despite what Victor's saying, there is no release clause.
Yeah.
So does he think this gentleman's agreement is a release clause? Is there a bit of a loss in translation? Or is there one which Tottenham just don't want to make public? So we're putting out we're just putting out for all the journalists, no, there is no release clause, when there actually is one. It's hard to know exactly what the truth is. Obviously, we saw the complications with release clauses in the summer with Morgan Gibbs-White. and how there was one, but it was supposed to be a secret one. So the fact that we knew about it would have breached some sort of term, and they were going to take us to court, and it got very, very messy. It's hard to know exactly what the truth is when it comes to what this release clause is and how valid it is and all this kind of stuff. If it is true, I mean, it seems quite low, I would say. I mean, at the height of it, 53 million. Do I see Tottenham agreeing to a release clause that low? Not really. I mean, we signed him for what? 40 million, was it? So
roundabout, yeah.
I think you'd probably, if it was going to be a release clause, you'd like to think it's going to be at least 60. Like, I think 53.8 is a bit low. So that makes me think, I don't know how much truth there is to that, this release clause. But what it does do is it goes to the mindset of Cuti himself, because this is his dad's talking. I'm sure he talks to his dad a lot. And I think that really goes into where his head's at the moment. Obviously, I don't think it's a secret that he's disgruntled and that he, probably wants to move on in the summer, given the lot of outbursts he's made. I mean, obviously, you can read into a lot of that where you think his head's at. But now this is his actual dad speaking. So you got, someone within the Romero camp talking like he's talking, saying, he could be thinking something now, but then if they put a team together to win the title, then things can change. So that clearly for me is him signalling, look, this club ain't going anywhere. This club is in the wilderness. They're not run right. They've broke, but if things change and they put a team together in the title, maybe something can change. But are we going to do that this summer?
Football is such a game of moments, and it's moving very fast, and parts are changing very quickly. Under Thomas Frank, they were probably sitting there thinking, many of them were probably sitting there thinking, look, this guy's just been given a long contract. Nobody believes in him. The football that we're playing is absolutely dire. We can't seem to buy a win. Everything doesn't align with the vision of a lot of the players there in the squad. And obviously I'm talking mainly about players like Romero and Van der Ven. But now Zerbi's in, you never know what can change in terms of the thinking of the players. And, I hark back to Jan Vertonghen. I know I do it a lot, but I think it's a good case in point, because Jan Vertonghen, in that season where he was slumped on the sides at Anfield, and he was disgruntled, he wasn't putting his heart and soul into it. Pochettino came in and changed everything. He changed everything, and probably not just for Vertonghen, for many players probably in the back end there. So the right manager can change a lot.
You look at Harry Kane. When he wanted to leave, Nuno was here. He couldn't hit a barn door. He wasn't looking like anything like the player that we know. Everyone's saying, he doesn't want to be here, he wants to leave. If he's not going to play, if he's going to play like this, just drop him. People are calling for Harry Kane to be dropped. Do you remember those days? Calling for Kane to be dropped. That's how bad it got. And then Conte comes in and became, for the last 6 months, the best player in the league again. And his psyche changed.
He should have been dropped, though.
Maybe, but whatever. We're not having this argument now, but I'm just saying that's how much it can change.
Some were saying Kane weren't world class. I was never on that camp.
I remember. I was having big arguments with people. Kane ain't world class anymore. I was like, you're crazy. You're insane. These people are chatting nonsense. And I think, that was another case of evidence that it's, how much a manager can change things to certain players and a club. And you're right. We'll see what De Zerbi brings. The problem is we've had Romero and Van der Ven have been at the club through times where you're thinking, okay, now maybe they're going to start taking things seriously, and then it never lasts more than a year, and things go seriously wrong. We then, we sacked a manager who won a trophy. We appointed Thomas Frank. We broke promises to Romero. All these kind of things. So getting that trust back, even in 7 games, is going to be a very tall order. It's going to be very, very hard to do. And another element is we're going to have the World Cup in the summer. They're all going off. It's hard exactly to show statements of intent in the transfer market when it's going to be very hard to sign players early on, because everyone's going to be at the World Cup. So then all of a sudden, once the players come back, it's not going to be that long until the season starts, and all of a sudden, if they're going to try and engineer a move, they're not going to be left with as much time as they would have been. So they don't have as much time to make those decisions of, do I want to stay or not, than they would have had if it wasn't a World Cup season. And all that plays into what their intentions are going into the summer. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I really hope it doesn't get messy, and I hope, look, if he makes a decision, look, I think it's time to move on, but let's just maybe facilitate a move and deal with it as quickly as possible, not let it drag on. That's probably the best for everyone. Knowing how it was under Levy, he loved having things drag on. Even the Harry Kane one, he dragged it on until the first game of the season, until he sold him to Bayern. So I hope we act in a different way, but it seems as though right now it's no secret that his mind is elsewhere. But let's just hope he can lock in for these 7 games, because we're going to need him.
Yeah.
And it's not great to hear from your captain's dad, is it?
The positive thing about squad building and moving forward, about having Zerbi in now, he's got 7 games to really assess things.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to him starting in the summer and starting at the first day of January when a lot of players are still at the World Cup. You know, he won't have any time to assess the squad. Now he's got time to assess this squad. He's got 7 games, and then he's got a few weeks in the summer before the World Cup to really mull over things and seeing who he does want, who he doesn't want, and he'll have a really good idea come the summer of what he wants his squad to actually look like. And I think that's such a positive when we're looking forward to next season, as opposed to any other new manager that could come in.
Yeah, which is obviously one of the main benefits to bring him now.
Yeah,
you get that little head start on next season. It's harder to call it a pre-season because we're in such a dire strait that we obviously need results now. If we were in like mid-table, you could probably call this a mini pre-season, but it's not quite that level. But 100%, it's a massive advantage, and hopefully it gives us a bit of a head start for next season.
All right, well, there you have it. That's the Tottenham update for today. We've got a couple of super chats to get into. Let's just